That's absolute garbage. It's a good segue into The Bubble. When you feel so strong about something, sometimes it's hard to keep it tamped down. The Bubble is a movie, quote, movie, end quote. Thing on IMDb, I'm just going to read off IMDb. It says a group of actors and actresses stuck inside a pandemic bubble at a hotel attempt to complete a film. That describes it. Directed by Judd Apatow, written by Judd Apatow and Pam Brady. Stars Karen Gillan as Carol Cobb, Leslie Mann as Lauren Van Chance, Pedro Pascal as Dieter Bravo, Keegan-Michael Key as Sean Knox, Iris Apatow as Crystal Chris, Brett Armisen as Darren Eigen, David Duchovny as Dustin Mulray. There's a bunch of other people that are in this for like 2 minutes. Like John Lithgow's in this movie. Beck's in this movie for some reason as himself. Kate McKinnon's in it. Like I see why she said yes. I think she says yes to everything.
She loves taking roles.
Even though I love Kate McKinnon, but on SNL. The Bubble. Huh? How about it? We weren't sure if this was real because it seemed like a April Fool's joke.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have been awesome if it wasn't real and we didn't watch this, because this movie fucking sucks. It fucking sucks, man. It's so fucking bad. It's, my God, I don't say this lightly, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's 2 hours and 6 fucking minutes long too.
Movies. That I texted you about right before I started it, which you were in the middle of watching it, I think, when I sent it to you.
That was that long?
Yeah. I was like, dude, this movie's 2 hours. What the fuck?
It felt like it took a day.
Oh, dude, this is like Justice League and a sequel.
I haven't watched a movie that felt this long since Space Jam: A New Legacy.
That's not that long ago.
No, but again, it feels like they both felt like they were at least double the runtime that they were. I think Space Jam was actually shorter too, but this, it felt like it was 4 hours of my life, if not longer. I feel like every 5 minutes my wife was like, how much longer is this? And I would hit the button to see, and she'd be like, how is it this much longer?
Yeah.
It's like you live in a time vortex.
Specifically at the 45-minute mark. Because I was like, this has to be like an hour and 25 minutes in. And it was 45. And I was like, oh no, there's that much time left.
Yeah.
Oh no. And then I was like fighting the urge to check how much time was in it as the movie went along, because it was like, it just surprised me and be over. There were like 3 good 5-minute bits.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there's 3 TikTok dance scenes, because there fucking is.
Yes.
At least 3. I think there's 3.
I think one of them is part of my good 5-minute bit.
What even was involved in that good 5 minutes?
I think the drug-fueled TikTok bit was like okay. Like the scene preceding it, the TikTok bit.
Even when they did drugs, when they started, like everybody's face was on other people's faces.
Yeah. That was yeah.
So fucking stupid,
4.5
dude.
minute bit, yeah.
This movie's so bad. Every time the girl was like, yeah, my mom, I'm like, oh, the person literally fucking standing next to you who has the same face you have? Come on. It's obvious they're fucking related. I can't suspend the disbelief that like this person isn't your actual family because you look exactly alike. When your daughter and your wife want to be in a movie, I guess, and you're a director, you're just like, yeah, sure. Cool.
Yeah, we'll cast you as not related, but talk about each other's families. I don't have kids. My mom's not here.
Trying to remember this movie brings me pain. I hated
the beginning part of this movie brought me pain as somebody who worked through the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I remember I verbally out loud when we were watching that, I said, Rick is going to hate this. At least this part. I didn't know the whole movie was going to be like dog shit just smeared into your face, you know? Because that's what it felt like. I felt like someone took a shit and smeared it into my face. That's what The Bubble was to me.
Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks ago, I described the beginning of working through the pandemic to somebody, and I started to have a light panic attack, and I was like, oh, okay, this got me good. Like, all right. Who knew?
Nice.
And I was like, I was like, we're gonna leave this conversation for a minute. I'll come back to it. Like, maybe I'll skip ahead. I don't know. And then, then when that scene happened, I was like, fuck, dude, just please get past this part. Like, just taking the temperatures in their head.
Yeah, there was like a lot of pandemic jokes.
Wiping a pineapple. I'm like, fuck off. Did
you ever feel like this movie was made bad, but they like knew they were doing it? kind of.
Yes.
There was a few lines, and I was like, dude, what? That exact line is like a description of the movie. Like they were saying, like, they're like, oh, this is a disaster. Like this is terrible. At the end, the very last scene, I think they showed too. They said some shit about like, oh, we tried. Like no one can fault us for that, right? It's like, is this trying to be self-aware because they know it's fucking dog shit?
Yeah,
it wasn't funny though at all.
No.
And that, honestly, like, a bad comedy is so much fucking worse than a bad drama or a bad action movie.
Yeah,
so much worse.
You can't even laugh.
No, because it's not funny. Bad action movies are fucking great because like they could be funny because they're like they take themselves like too seriously or something, you know.
This was a torturous Saturday night for me to watch this.
I hope we never watch anything this bad again because it was awful. Like I said, I don't say it lightly, but this is legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen, ever. I doubt there'll be anything in 2022 that's worse than The Bubble. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Just a monumental waste of time.